I'm really excited about it, too. Hey, Bart Scott. Stephen A. He's a bad man.
That's your boy.
Woo!
See what you did? You created a monster, Stephen A. You created a monster.
Huh?
Were you having a nightmare?
Oh. I took a nap.
You fatigued?
I'm so sick. You know, he's absolutely right. You know, tune it out. We cover sports. We have to talk about him. We can't tune out one of the best quarterbacks who ever played the game. Yeah. But my God, I wish we could. I'm so sick and tired of talking about everything about Aaron Rodgers but winning. One of the great, I'm on the record.
Yeah.
Outside of Patrick Mahomes, and that's only because of recently. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, the greatest talent from the quarterback position I've ever seen in my life. And a guy that I like personally.
Yeah.
But I am so sick and tired. I would be embarrassed if folks are talking about me this much when I haven't won.
He's learned from the best, though, Stephen A. Remember, he's a product of his environment. His environment was Brett Favre. This is the exact same thing potentially with this same team, right? And we had the same conversations around Favre year after year. He continued to hold the organization hostage until finally they said, you know what? It's Aaron Rodgers' time. Ironically enough, when you think about it, this is the third year that Jordan Love has sat behind Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre and his drama show for 3 years. So he's a product of his environment. He's learned from one of the best, and Brett Favre. Their resume is pretty much similar as well. And it's funny that he's talking to Aubrey, but when you hear Brian Gutekunst yesterday say he hasn't talked to Aaron Rodgers. So instead of talking on a podcast, this is the most passive-aggressive relationship I've ever seen in my life. Nobody wants to be the one to say, I'm ready to break up. It's clear and obvious that both teams want to move forward. And you have to understand, Brian has to understand that the future is important. In the present, this is the best time to move on.
You're sure Aaron wants to move on, you guys?
Well, first of all, here's my incident.
I'm not sure.
I don't give a damn whether he wants to stay or go.
Yes.
My issue is play, win. You know, in the end, and it's really interesting, and I'm glad you brought that point up. First of all, the embarrassment of the situation, this melodrama per se, doesn't just fall on the shoulders of Aaron Rodgers. It falls on the shoulders of Gutekunst. Let me ask you a question. I don't give a damn what it is. I got an issue if I'm an executive for a franchise you represent, and we're trying to make a decision about you, and I haven't spoken to you, but you on podcast. You was on Pat McAfee's show weeks ago before you went dark, literally. And now you back and you on another podcast. So let me get this straight. How difficult, listen, there are people we speak to. Molly, you've been all over the world knowing you. You got friends in Europe.
I have not been all over the world.
Listen, it ain't hard for you. It ain't hard for you to get on the phone with somebody.
It
ain't somebody, I know you wish.
It ain't
hard. But it ain't hard, damn it. I mean, listen, you're doing podcasts, but you can't even have a phone call with each other. The Green Bay
it goes both ways.
And let's bring up Matt LaFleur too. And he's pathetic too. I mean, all of them are stained in all of this. It's just a melodrama, and it ain't just Aaron Rodgers' fault. It's Gutekunst's fault. It's Matt LaFleur's fault. So I said LaFleur, not LaFleur. I said LaFleur. The bottom line is, once again, news for everything but winning.
It goes both ways though. Brian, I can see it. Brian said, hey, I've been reaching out to Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't picked up. You got to call and put the pressure on Aaron Rodgers to expedite this decision. You can't make it all cozy.
Well, not if Aaron Rodgers said that's not what he wants you to do. But the point is, what you could do is say,
came out your hole.
What you could do is say, yo, man, you talking to everybody else.
What's up?
What's up?
Right.
You could do that.
Remember, Aaron Rodgers is passive-aggressive again. Oh, they're having conversations about the future of this organization, and I haven't been included in that. He said that on Pat McAfee's show. So if you put all the pieces together, both sides want to break up. They just don't know. They don't want to be the first one to say it. But it's perfect for Green Bay to move on and transition.
Neither one of us.
But it's
neither one of us wants to be the first to say.
There you go.
Gladys Knight in the Pips,
there you go.
Know. In case y'all don't know, y'all young whippersnappers don't know.
No, I'm from Motown.
I know you know. I don't know about Molly there.
But I was just more stuck on your singing voice.
But when
are you a soprano or an alto?
Neither.
He's a tenor. but when you look at it, this is the perfect time to move on if you're Green Bay. Because you have an opportunity, because Aaron Rodgers had a down year to his standards. See, it's hard to cut somebody when they're coming off an MVP type of caliber season because you can blame everybody but him. But last year, you can put some of the blame on Aaron Rodgers for his play, his lack of communication and chemistry with his receivers. So now you can move on, and now you have to stomach as an organization that he might go somewhere and have short-term success.
Well, let me say this.
Like Brett Favre had.
Well, I don't mean to do Molly's job, but then again, I do in this particular situation. The question was really supposed to be, is Aaron Rodgers worth multiple teams?
Okay.
Yes.
Time out. Time out. First of all.
I said I don't mean to do it.
You
but
fell
I'm just
asleep.
doing it.
First of all,
I was asleep.
Time out. I called an audible because, first of all, you guys were making faces when the sound was happening. I'm sorry I didn't stick to the script, and I thought maybe we should react to the sound. And then we were going to get to the question, but you all kept going, so I didn't have time to.
No, we understand that.
Well, Captain Kerr, I follow your lead.
We take the blame.
I go whatever you
We're not
think.
blaming you. We're blaming ourselves.
I don't even want to ask that question anyway.
Why?
Because I want to ask Bart Scott what he thinks is going to happen.
Okay.
I think that I'm nervous that maybe Miami may sneak in here.
Miami?
I'm nervous because I think because it's questions about the future of Tua Tagovailoa. This is a team that went all in.
Yeah, but why not get Lamar Jackson, who's from there?
I just don't know if that's obtainable. I just can't see the Baltimore Ravens moving on from Lamar Jackson and also letting him stay in the same conference and have that team and Lamar Jackson prevent you from winning any playoff games or going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Much like we talk about Aaron Rodgers going to the AFC, I think if Lamar Jackson's going somewhere, they'll try and get him to the NFC. So I see, with the uncertainty about Tua Tagovailoa, Miami went all in. They lost the first-round draft pick because they were tampering with Tom Brady, but then they thought that Tua was the answer and went in and traded for Chubb, Bradley Chubb, and that didn't work out. You put Aaron Rodgers on the team with those type of weapons. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I would want to go there.
Miami?
Yes. Come on.
Oh, my God.
With those Waddle and
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? Hell yeah.
Well, I'm saying that all the options we're talking about, the Jets.
Miami would be the.
I didn't think Miami was possible, but if Miami is possible for a quarterback, I can't think of too many situations in the NFL better than Miami with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to throw the football to.
I mean,
my Lord.
With the uncertainty, like Tua, they can't give Tua a long-term.
Let's call this what it is about Tua. Tua's career is in trouble.
It is. It's in
he had
jeopardy.
3 concussions in the same year.
And it took him 3 months to get clear from the last one.
Exactly.
One more concussion. No. We're having this conversation that we had around Troy Aikman when it was time to say, you know what, too many concussions are too much. So and
Troy Aikman's a big dude.
Right. So if you're able to go and maybe make a trade and create salary cap space for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, that allows you to have Tua to heal for a year. Right. And we've seen players, take some time off because of the concussions to heal up. But I'm nervous about, and what's crazy is that division is open right now because we have uncertainty about the Buffalo Bills with Frazier leaving, with Poyer not maybe coming back. Hyde. They're vulnerable. That division's wide open right now.
By the way, to your point, Mike McDaniels did speak yesterday and said they hadn't made a decision on whether they're going to pick up Tua's fifth-year option.
You can't. How can you? How can you promise this guy $20 million when you don't know if he can stay healthy?
But let me just pause you for 1 second with the Lamar Jackson. If you could get Lamar versus Rodgers, wouldn't you go Lamar?
Yes, I would go Lamar.
Just from the simple fact that you've got more runway.
Yes, that'd be a 4-by-1 team.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. And we've heard, them.
We'd all go Lamar instead of Aaron Rodgers. No
I mean, if I'm the Jets, that's why everybody thinking that Aaron Rodgers controls the market. Everybody's waiting to see what the Ravens do with that exclusive, non-exclusive tag. And if they just say, you know what, we won't give you a guaranteed contract, it is a line of teams that will. So Lamar Jackson can potentially control the market. If not, then it goes to Aaron Rodgers. And then Derek Carr and Jimmy G has to wait to see who wants to get them later.
But it sounds like to me you would think that Aaron's more likely to leave than Lamar.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, I think that's a done deal. I mean, at some point you have to transition and move on and go to the future. With Aaron Rodgers last year, I don't think even with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay that they can win a championship. I think they recognize that.
The first order of business when you're investing in someone long term is deciphering whether or not they want to be there.
Right.
The worst thing you could do is invest in someone long term who doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
That you can't do that if you're the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. You just can't do it.
And if Aaron Rodgers has another MVP type season, you'll never see Jordan Love. Because then now you can't cut him coming off an MVP season if he wants to play the whole thing out.
By the way, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft too.
That's right.
There are.
It's some projects. And next year is the big year for quarterbacks.
But there's
Caleb comes
we
from
just
USC.
had Mel. We just had Mel come on. I mean,
but
it's like 4 of them.
Some of them are undersized.
It's questions about
question marks.
Richardson only played 13 games in college. Those players come in and struggle. questions about Bryce Young. C.J. Stroud, people like him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he showed that he can be more mobile against Georgia. But this isn't the class.
So you don't think any of them's going to be a real deal NFL
I think
player?
it's always one or two that surprises us, but I believe next year is the year that everybody's waiting.
Let me say this, too. This is a point that hasn't been brought up enough. I brought it up once before, but it needs to be brought up again. What the hell is Matt LaFleur and his staff doing with Jordan Love? Because if Jordan Love, you got to remember, they were pushing Favre out the door. Right. They got tired of Favre's noise, but they also knew that Aaron Rodgers was ready. And they said, hey, he's the guy. Go ahead. Go on with your bad self. Went to the Jets, obviously, then Minnesota. The point that I'm making to y'all is, at some point in time where it is this quiet and there's this volleying back and forth and we're wondering. Well, if we're wondering about Aaron Rodgers' future, isn't it because we're really wondering about Jordan Love? Because if you knew definitively that this dude was the dude, you'd be telling Aaron Rodgers, man, let's get you up out of here.
Well, Gutekunst said that they've been in contact with Jordan Love's agent, and they're confident that he's ready. So that's what I'm saying. If you're confident that he's ready, because this is the thing. What you don't want, if Aaron Rodgers come back, you got to make a decision if you're going to pick up Jordan Love's fifth-year option, which will be $20 million.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.